Hello, everyone, and welcome to Required Reading. On this show, we talk about comic books, graphic novels, the whole shebang. I'm Steve Zaragoza.
I'm Trisha Hirschberger.
So this week, we're talking about an excellent book called Saga.
Saga, Volume 1 only, so no spoilers for people that haven't read Volume 2 yet.
Shh.
Universally, almost every review I read said that people really enjoyed it. Like, everybody thought it was great. And I mean, Brian K. Vaughan just does a great job making super real characters, and Fiona Staples does a wonderful job really bringing those worlds to life. So how could you not like it?
Yeah, and also I think Brian K. Vaughan said that he specifically pulled from his childhood loves of Star Wars and Buck Rogers and stuff like that. And he also was kind of pulling from his own experiences of having a kid. And he kind of wanted to tie that together in with a fantastical story that he had come up with when he was a kid. The story follows these two fugitives that are torn between a war-ravaged world where they're the horns and the wings.
And they're either from the main planet or the moon.
It's kind of forbidden for them to kind of fall in love because they're on opposing sides of this big war. And but these two characters are in love. They escape.
But escape to where? I mean, the coolest thing about this war is that it's not just between the planet and the moon. They decided they didn't want to destroy the original planet and moon, so they took their war elsewhere to keep peace there, which I thought was a really interesting idea.
Yeah.
But then that means that the war's raging everywhere. So no matter where you go, this couple is screwed.
Yeah, but I mean, it's love that keeps them together.
Love and a baby.
And a baby, yeah. So they've got freelance bounty hunters going after them, and they've got royalty going after them. It's a big problem. And we've got the, who's the Prince Robot guy?
Prince Robot 4, who we're introduced to him while he's getting it on with his lady
he's getting
robot.
It on with his wife, yeah. Which is very strange because there's no context with what these characters are exactly.
Yeah,
they
we
are
have
robots.
no idea. We just know that they're doggy styling.
They're doggy styling. The characters are very unique in this book, which I very much loved. Even right off the bat, you've got the girl with the wings, and it's very crude and it's very real. The dialogue is very real throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, it's very gritty. You can hear each character's voice, too.
Yeah.
The way Alana talks and her slang is very different from the way that Marco converses with anybody. And I just think it's so smart and it's so real that, when you see Prince Robot 4 for the first time, for me personally, it's weird that he's got a TV bunny ear head, but I was I'm believing everything he's saying. He's got real life problems. He's a real dude. Same thing with when we were first introduced to Marco and Alana. Alana's given birth to Hazel, and Marco comes up from between her legs and is you've never looked more beautiful or whatever.
Yeah, but she feels like she's taking a shit, basically.
Right. However, was my first thought, man, that dude's got horns, that's weird, or wow, that chick's got some funky wings. No, I was like, oh my God, what a beautiful moment.
This story is so unique. The universe is so unique. The characters are so unique. There's a spaceship that's a tree.
Yeah, and you got to talk about Isabel, too.
Isabel, there's
the babysitter.
Ghosts. Yeah, the ghosts, and they can project whatever they want. And then we need to talk about Will and his cat, Lying Cat.
Lying Cat.
Which is great, because Lying Cat will call you out if you're lying.
If you're lying. It's a very excellent tool to have.
Yeah. Let's talk about the stock. She's built up as this crazy, I don't want to deal with it. The stock's already got him by now.
Yeah, and I have to say, in true Game of Thrones fashion, spoiler alert, but everyone that you love just bites the big one. And I was the stock, this character's so great. She's such a badass chicken. Oh, yep, that's her storyline.
And again, the design of the stock is very fascinating, and the art is so amazing that you just want to stare at the frame. There's also boobs going on, which is actually not
There
bad.
are. So I was going to say, as much as we're talking about all the lovely, warm family things going on, be forewarned.
Yeah, if
you have small ones, there's some sexy time that's kind of graphic in here.
Yeah, I mean, and it's cool. It's gritty. There's dudes smashing people's heads off,
just at this one page that Steve turned over into.
And then there's boobs everywhere. This is a very epic story. It seems like something that I'd want to see in a movie or a miniseries or something, but I don't know how they could make this into a movie.
Yeah, I saw one reviewer that said that Saga is the epic that Hollywood has not been able to tell.
Not much more needs to be said. We very much love this volume 1 of Saga.
For sure.
I don't know about you, but I'm going to keep reading. I want to move on to volume 2, which is out.
So that's what we thought, but we wanted to go to the Twitter space to see what you guys had to say about Saga Volume 1. At Alex L. Fasto says, it is one of the best comics out right now. Really good story and interesting characters. Tia H at Tiasaurus Rex 86 says, where to start? The artwork, the drama, the action, the amazingly written characters. It's everything I love about comics.
Yeah, and the thing is, you read comic books like this, and if they aren't things like Wolverine, and there's a Hugh Jackman in the world that plays that Wolverine.
Right.
You read these characters in kind of like a unique voice. You kind of associate them with actors that you are familiar with. Prince Robot 4 is definitely Michael Fassbender's voice for me. Also, Mr. Adam Green at Velcro Face on Twitter says, Saga seemed to me like someone looking at the Star Wars universe with fresh eyes. Didn't really work for me though. Interesting. It's a little bit more complicated than Star Wars, but I can see why. I mean, there's really nothing else to compare it to, and that's why you kind of have to say Star Wars.
That's why you say this mixed with this, mixed with this.
Yeah.
So if you want to join us next week on Required Reading, you can go ahead and read Uncanny X-Force Volume 1 by Rick Remender, and then use that hashtag SFN Comics to tell us what you thought about it.
Yeah, I like this, Trisha, because we started in the DC universe. We're doing a little indie stuff in Image with Saga, and now we're going straight to Marvel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, please leave us your thoughts about that book in the Twitter area universe with the hashtag SFN
Or,
Comics.
down below is just fine, too.
Yeah, we'll talk about it below. Also, something we're interested in, because I know I'm going to keep reading Saga. Trisha,
Okay.
you're probably going to keep reading Saga, too. If you guys want us to go into Volume 2 at some point after the next book, let us know in the comments down below. Let us
Steve,
know.
don't act like we read their comics. We read all of them. And now it's time for DJ's Pull List.
Hey guys, it's DJ, and this is my pull list for this week. DC Comics is still hip deep in its Villains Month, with only 2 books that I personally recommend from the dozens of Villains comics they're releasing this week. Aquaman 23.1, Black Manta, which is written by the current Aquaman writer, Jeff Johns, and Action Comics 23.2, which is written by Greg Pak, who's currently killing it on Batman Superman, and who did a solid job last week with his Darkseid one-shot. Meanwhile, at DC's mature imprint Vertigo, we have a new issue of the Federal Bureau of Physics. The name may have been changed from Collider, but it's still chock full of fun sci-fi high concepts in a world where the laws of physics are made to be broken. Marvel continues its 2 big events with X-Men number 5 and Avengers 19, which provide the next chapters of Infinity and Battle of the Atom respectively. And finally, my pick of the week is Mighty Avengers number 1. Luke Cage is one of my favorite Marvel characters, and he's headlining this book. It's essentially a rebranded Heroes for Hire, which is all good by me. It's tied into the whole Infinity event, but I'm hoping it'll be pretty standalone and just focused on these cool characters. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Click this annotation below for the rest of our stories. My name's DJ, and you should buy comics. It's not just for nerds. They are for nerds, but it's cool to be a nerd now, right? People have made a lot of money, right, Darren? People have made a lot of money being nerds.